figuring out the practical applications from the thing that he saw in his head.
Yeah.
Right? Like, hey, I know how this works. Hey, I know. Like, these are basic kind of things. Like, a vortex is a vortex is a vortex, right? Yeah. They're powerful regardless of where they're at or what they're doing. Mm-hmm. Creating one, will be a force multiplier.
And he was also very good at being able to, I don't want to use the word chronological, but like he in his mind, he could walk through A to Z. It wasn't a struggle. It wasn't a struggle for him to it wouldn't take him a whole life. Most people work a whole lifetime on one breakthrough thing. This guy was doing it at will.
2 and 3 at a time.
Yeah, exactly right. And right before he died, 2 or 3 days before he died. And this is why I tell you that Nikola Tesla was legitimately a legitimate dude. He was under constant FBI surveillance.
You had a guy who who basically understood electricity well enough that he created the Tesla coil. It was just that thing in and of itself, like it's so intimidating looking.
Yeah. And he would sit right next to it. This electricity
would sit in it was like all lightning's crashing around him, and because he knew how it worked. Like, he understood it at kind of a fundamental level. And that's scary to people who don't, right?
Oh, yeah. And so another thing he did, too, he didn't do himself any favors, is 3 days before he died, Tesla also was working on another weapon where he postulated that since he was going to prove that everything on this earth is vibration tuned, he created a weapon that he could hold up next to a, whatever. And if he dialed in the vibration, the object would disintegrate. Well, his building started to shake violently one day, and the FBI agents had to run up there. And when they kicked the door in, he was taking an axe to the machine. It was about to bring the building down. He was literally on accident about to collapse this building. I do not think, though, that some people, some rabbit holes will say that, they killed him 3 days later because that, I don't think he was fairly old in his age, and he wasn't. Yeah, he was 100% worth more to them alive. You let this guy cook, man. Like, he was legit, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So now,
yeah, he was
86, Jay.
86.
86, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's almost
86.
like I'm a Tesla fan. Almost like that, right?
Almost. Yeah, 86, so like you think about it, coming from a long line of people who have gone mad.
Yeah.
Later on in life.
Yeah.
That's about when it happens, bro.
Yeah, it's a good age, man.
Here's the thing. I know from experience it started at about 80 with most of them.
Right.
And they lasted about 6 years after that. And then that was it. It was over. So that tracks. Like, if I have a theory about people who burn the candle at both ends.
Right.
Right?
Let's hear it.
When you think that hard, your brain gets tired.
Oh,
right?
Firm believer.
Right? Like, I think he burned really, really bright.
There's no doubt.
And at the end, when you burn that bright at the end, I think it kind of just winks out fast.
And also too, man, he was so smart. People thought he was an alien. I mean, like, they literally thought this guy was an alien, man. But he was that smart. But even what interests me in these type of stories is that the truth is often stranger than fiction, because after all we just told you, that ain't even the weird part, right? So after he died, they raided him. They took up all of his work. And Jay, who did they give it to?
Yeah.
They gave it to...
I think his name was John Trump, wasn't it?
His name was John Trump, man. He was actually... Donald Trump's uncle was an MIT professor They took all of Nikola Tesla's work to John Trump, asked him to look at it. They were interested in 3 things in particular. Surprisingly, they weren't very interested in the free energy. They wanted to know what he was working on the following 3 things. 1, his death rate. They're very interested in his death rate that he was talking about, right? 2, time travel. 3, Nikola Tesla had a working model of teleportation. Believe it or not, modern day beam me up Star Trek stuff that he had working on. And the report came back from John Trump that, shocker, there was nothing here worth looking at, and it supposedly went away. However, for the longest time, a lot of that stuff was what, Jay? Redacted, locked up, classified. So for a whole bunch of nothing,
yep.
It
says the official statement is, after a 3-day investigation, Trump reported that none of the materials would have significant value to this country, nor would they constitute a hazard in unfriendly hands. He concluded that Tesla's late career projects were primarily promotional, writing that they did not include new sound, workable principles, or methods. In other words, the things he was doing at the end of his life were crazy talk.
Crazy talk.
But were they though? Like, or was he just kind of like right before the candle went out? Was he like burning real hard and coming up with some interesting stuff? Right.
So let's go down that. Let's go down that road, Jay. So out of the 2 of the 3 things that Trump turned over, he turned over the teleportation and the death ray. However, he kept, for reasons for posterity or nostalgia, he kept the time travel stuff on his own because they thought that was the biggest laugh of it all. Okay, so before we get into that, Jay, what could the government of the United States of America possibly do with a whack job theory about a death ray, Jay, that could shoot electricity bazillion trillions of miles away on a flat Earth?
On a flat Earth.
On a flat Earth, Jay.
We're gonna arc the electricity across the coin.
Right, exactly. So Jay,
and we're gonna break the ice wall.
What exactly? And let in the trogs. So Jay, what they took that technology and did what with it, Jay? They scrap it?
I have no idea, dude.
Nope.
None of these people.
What they did was they took it, said it was nothing, and then they went out to Alaska and built it and then renamed it into what they call
HARP.
They call HARP, right? So they turned Nikola Tesla's death ray into modern day HARP, right?
Gotcha.
And if you do not believe that we have the ability to manipulate weather, then I will stop.
Subscribe now and turn on the notifications to join us on this extraordinary journey into the unknown.